Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today is April 9th, 2025, and 30 days or a month to the day, back on March 9th, we planted our red Pontiac potatoes. I wanted today to film an update to that video because I thought it'd be fun to have 4 videos in this series on these potatoes. A planting, because I did a full video on that, month 1, month 2, and then a harvest. So I'm thinking month 2 would be the May 9th, and the harvest will be somewhere around June 9th, which is pretty close to my birthday. So if I actually get if they're ready to get harvested on that date or around that date, it'd be a pretty super birthday present to pull a bunch of red potatoes out of the ground, especially if I have a really good yield. But before I show you the potato plants today, we're gonna go back in time 1 month and here are a couple of clips from the first video, the planting video, because I made a couple of notations about what was going on, and I want to refresh both of our memories as to what I said. So here's a month ago. A note to my future self: the first 14 in this bed to my left are the really micro-sized potatoes. This bed on the right-hand side, all the potatoes in there are more of the standard seed potato size that you get, somewhere between, like I said, slightly smaller than a baseball, slightly bigger than a large egg. This bed, for the most part, the front side of it has small, and then I have a handful of more standard seed potato sizes. And then at the end, I've got cut pieces. Now, I actually cut these pieces this morning. I did not, usually I cure them over for a couple days, but patience is getting the best of me, and I want to try to capitalize on the weather that we've got coming up as much as possible. Maybe it's a little premature. I have read that, you can cut and plant the same day without having an issue. So this is actually going to teach me that as well. If for some reason this back half of the bed, back quarter of the bed doesn't perform, maybe it's because I, cut and should have cured for a day or two. So yeah, now we know where the small potatoes were planted. We know that bed on the right-hand side had more standard seed potato sizes throughout the whole bed. And we know that the cut potatoes were not cured and they were in the back of the left-hand side bed. So with that information, let's go ahead and head on over to those beds and see what they look like today. So here they are. Now, we had a freeze last night, so we're gonna see frozen damage on some of these. I didn't have enough row cover to cover everybody, and that's just what happens. It shouldn't damage the plant too much and impact yield to too great a degree. It's possible. I just gotta kind of hope against hope that it's not gonna be too detrimental. But let's take a look at our plant sizes, irrespective of the damage. And before we actually do that, let me show you what damage is gonna probably look like. I don't know how well the camera's gonna pick it up, but this shoot system looks really good off this plant. This one, I can see a color difference, and it looks like it possibly got a little bit frozen and is now defrosting. So we'll see what the damage looks like. But when I look at the bed live, I can see spots of those color issues throughout. So this whole plant looks like it got popped a bit. Half of this plant did. But that's not what we're here for today, but it is going to be a good note for the next video to see what's going on. When we see the damage, when we see the plant status of next month, if everything looks like it's absolutely, everything's going really well, then we'll know that the damage today didn't impact the plant health in a month. We still don't know what yields are going to be, but that'll give us some indication. More interestingly, these first 7 on either side of this bed, so that's 2, 4, 6, 7, they were the small potatoes. And you know what? We've got some smaller plants here and there, but we've got some pretty good sized ones as well, especially when you compare those to some of up here. In this direction, we've got some small ones as well, but these were more seed potato sized. So we're not seeing a huge variation in plant shoot size based upon seed potato size. Again, doesn't know what, there's no science behind that as far as the the weight of that goes. I didn't weigh these potatoes, so I don't know what was what. It was more of a visual inspection, but it's just kind of interesting because I could have expected to see much smaller shoot systems in the first 14 that I'm seeing back here, but I'm not necessarily seeing that consistently. But I am seeing bigger systems back here on the cut potatoes. Interestingly enough, I'm not seeing any loss of plant back here, so cutting the potatoes and not curing them doesn't seem to be that big of a deal, at least as of now. We'll see what yields are. You want to see some more frost damage. This whole potato back here seems to have gotten popped pretty good. Now this one here was kind of interesting because I don't think that was actually a Pontiac red, and I say that because the shoot system yesterday, when everything was fresher, had more of a yellowish tinge than a slightly reddish tinge. The plant looked a little different, and if I had Yukon Golds in here last year, which is possible, that might explain that, whereas I missed a bit of a piece. Maybe he came back this year. I don't know. I'm not going to dig it up to find out because it still might just be a shoot system off of this red potato, and I'm just not seeing the color properly. But yeah, we'll see what happens over the next few days with the recovery from the freeze. And over the next 30 days, we'll see the growth that comes out, and we will post another update at that point. So that's the April 9th update on the red potatoes. Appreciate you sticking with me on this journey. If you have any thoughts on the freeze damage, note below. I'd like to know what your experience has been on that, because I haven't had too much early potato shoot system damage from freezes, and I don't really know what to expect coming out of that. Fingers crossed that nothing bad happens, but not much I can do about it at this point. We don't have any more freezes in the forecast for the 15 days, so I'm hoping the worst is behind us, and now we're going to get some nice steady temperatures going forward. It wasn't even a bad freeze. We touched like low 30s. We did have a bit of frozen standing water here and there, but it only was for a few hours, but that was probably enough to do some damage. So, is what it is, and we'll pick it up next time. Thanks for watching. Take care.